All right, we're live. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna pull up my notes. Give me 1 second. How to open this in pop-up screen now? Give me 1 second. Let me just pull up these notes. I do it like which way do I do it? There you go. All right, this is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. We're running a bit late, but we're going to pick up where we left off last week. This is the last I'm doing on it. This is the fifth part. So last week we went over a few things. Also, what tomorrow you got so-called Halloween. Also, tomorrow you got what so-called Halloween, which obviously Black Hispanics ain't supposed to be celebrating. It's some nonsense. Officer Crawford on the history on that the other day. Also, there's tons of things going on, man. You got what? Them 39 people that died in the back of that truck. Salaki, can you just pull that article for me? I believe there's one where the family was giving interviews. There's one where the family was giving interviews, talking about how they wanted to come to England for a better life, and all of this nonsense. Is they Vietnamese origin? Not that one. There's scroll down. There was a next one where the family basically spoke. Is there any more down? Probably scroll up to the first one. Hopefully it's that one where it says Vietnamese. Actually, no. Yeah, click on. No, not that one. Scroll up. Let's load this. Brother one. The second one. Click on the second one. See if it's this one. There was a part where the family spoke.
All right, from the dailymail.co.uk, Vietnamese authorities send Essex police list of 14 people who are feared to be among 39 dead in migrant trucks.
So they said what? They said most of them was Chinese and some was Vietnamese. It was a what? The truck was a Bulgarian lorry, right?
That's right.
Which was owned by an Irishman. They said. Scroll down. I don't know if this is the exact article, but there was a part where the family was speaking about how they came to England for a better life, how they was trying to come to England for a better life. Some of them paid up to 30 grand to get to England, man. No, sir.
I got it right. More than a dozen Vietnamese names and DNA details now sent to Essex police.
Listen, man, people think what? People think that they want to come to England because England's just so great and whatnot. The reason they want to come here is because this place is everywhere which is great on the face of this earth has been built up by slaves. That's what makes it so great. The reason there's a reason why what they don't want to go to Nigeria. You know why? Because there's ain't been built up by slaves, man. People are trying to go to where? America and England because it's built up by slaves. Slaves have built this whole country and made it what it is, and they see it as England. They see it as England's heaven, man. They see it as England is heaven, and they're doing anything they can to get here. People just think England's so great and everybody wants to come here. Nah, man, they want to come here because what? Off of the backs of slaves, man. Everything that we've had to build here. Go ahead.
Migrants believed to be carrying fake Chinese passports.
Scroll down. I don't know if this is the right one. Or type in 39 lorries. Family speaks out, because there was one where the families. Yes.
I believe this is the one.
No, I think this is the one that we. Hold on, is it?
I believe the families at the bottom of it.
Yeah, see if we can. See if we can get to the family part.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. A Vietnamese government spokesman said the 14 names had been sent to the UK via the British Embassy in Hanoi. Over the weekend, officials collected hair and nail samples from grieving families to be used in DNA analysis. Families also supplied photographs and descriptions of distinguished marks, such as moles or scars.
There's one woman that was in that lorry. She texted her mom, and she's like, "Mom, I'm so sorry, I can't breathe." And that was the last message they sent. So they died in the back of that freezer, man. Go ahead. All of that, they knew the risk when they was trying to get to England. Meaning what? Whether they lived or died to get to England, that they wanted to get here, man. They lived or died trying to get to England. Go ahead.
While more than half a dozen families have spoken about their anguish, others have chosen to remain silent.
See if we can get the ones that have spoken out.
So we have Fam Tra Me 26 was the first person named by family among the 39 dead in the container tragedy, and it appears she may have been deported from Britain days earlier.
Yeah, she was deported from Britain days earlier and tried to come back into the country, man, by the back of a lorry. Meanwhile, black people that came here legally came here and fought in World War One and so forth. They got sent back, man. The Windrush generation, they got sent back. Talk about, we lost your papers. You need to go back now. A ton of them has been deported, and no one really talks about Windrush no more because obviously those is Israelites and no one cares about them. Scroll down. There was the next part where it was saying what they came over for.
I got about his family looking for him.
Not heard from him. There was the next one where the family speaks out of how much they paid and why they came to the UK. There's one. Yeah, this one looks like it.
You want to start from family members?
You can start from the fam fee, whatever, however you pronounce their name. This one there. Yeah.
Right, fam fee tra me 26, who sent a devastating text to her mother saying she was suffocating.
She sent a message to her mother saying she was suffocating. Now, they knew the risks, man. When they was coming here, they knew the risks, and guess what? They all died, man. Go ahead.
Was also thought to be among those whose details are now with the Essex police. Her father was among the first to send a letter to the local authorities saying his daughter was likely one of the 39 people found dead.
Scroll down. There was a next heavy part in there. I don't know if it's on this article. If it's not, we're just gonna have to drop it. Scroll down and see if it's. Where's to him they owe to me the first?
About the debt, yeah, about 30 grand.
Nah, yeah. So people paid about 30 grand to get here. They paid about that price. Some of the parents are still in debt. Some of the parents paid it and they ain't getting that money back. Go ahead.
All right. The debt-ridden families of suspected victims in the Essex lorry tragedy are being intimidated by smuggling gangs. It has emerged.
So the smuggling gangs and stuff is intimidating them. They still want their money. Go ahead.
Grieving relatives in Vietnam are understood to have come under pressure not to speak out as authorities in the UK seek to find those responsible for the 39 deaths. Anti-trafficking experts last night warned that victims' relatives are being held ransom by highly sophisticated and organized smuggling networks to whom they owe up to 30 grand.
And they owe up to 30 grand, man. They owe up to £30,000, man. These smugglers who smuggled them over here, they want the money, man. So they're holding families captive for that money. Scroll down. There was the next part where it says some of them was coming over here for work. I don't know if it's this article. If it's not this article, we'll just drop it. Yeah, scroll down. It's probably Dreams of a Better Life. Yeah. Is it this one? Yeah, it sounds more like it. One second, let me see if this one, if I attempt to delete or folder. Scroll down. Yeah, read this one.
You want the top part or the nail technician?
The nail technician.
All right. The nail technician.
This part, it gets interesting. Now, there was another part. Read it. Let me see if it's the right one.
The nail technician who paid £8,800 to make it to Britain, Anna Bu Tai Nayong, 19, from Vietnam, paid an agent over £8,000, which would be 10,000 US dollars, with the hope of entering the UK.
So listen, you see these people right here? There's one where it tells you that all of them that was coming over, even the men that was coming over, wanted to be nail technicians. And guess who spends money in these nail bars? Black women, man. These migrants was coming over here to make money off black people, man.
Right.
You can say that I'm reaching, but I'm not, man. Listen, go to all them nail technicians, go to all them Chinese nail shops. Who's always in them Chinese nail shops? Black women, man. Getting their eyelashes done, getting their toenails done, getting their feet done. And these Chinese people was willing to come in a freezer to make money off black people, man. You can say I'm reaching, but listen, they was coming to be a nail technician. Who else is in them nail bars? These 39 migrants, well, obviously all of them was coming up for different reasons, but at least a dozen of these 39 migrants was coming over to the UK to become nail technicians because they know black people go to the nail bar, man. They know, you know what? If we can come over there and we can set up a nail bar, we will have all these black women coming to us. They'll come to us for their eyebrows done. They'll come to us for their eyelashes done. They'll come to us for their toes and feet done. They'll come to us for their nails filed. And then they was planning to use that money to send it back home, man. They was planning to take black people's money and send it back home. They know that black people's money, they know that black people are so loose with their money that they can come here, take black people's money and send this money back to Vietnam, man. Read on.
With hope of entering the UK to work as a nail technician.
Hold on, she wanted to be a what?
Nail technician.
She came from there to be a nail technician. Why couldn't she be a nail technician in Vietnam? Why couldn't she be a nail technician in China? You know why? Because they know being a nail technician here, black people give them all their money, man. They know black women give all their money for them long nails. You know them long nails to where they can't even do nothing with them long nails. You can tell they can't cook with them long nails. They can't cook with them long nails. They can't make dough. So straight away you can look and know that obviously with them long nails, what can they do? And these Chinese people saw that and said, you know what? Well, Vietnamese said, you know what? If we can make it to the UK, we can set up a nail technician and that will bring us money. I mean, she paid how much? 10 grand. She paid over 8 grand, man. She paid over 8 grand to come to England to be a nail technician because she knows she would make her 8 grand back off black people, man. Right. She knows she would make that 8 grand back off black people. That's what she knows, man. These Vietnamese people are smart, man. Everybody knows how to make money off black people. And even if it means you must go in a freezer in the back of a lorry and risk losing your life to get that money off black people, they're willing to do it, man. Because they know how easy it is to get money off black people. Because of all things, she wants to be a nail technician. And you go to their nail shops, it's full of black people. And then what happens? Them Chinese men that come from Vietnam, that I guarantee you, a man that was in the who's karate, man, does all those karate kicks, them taekwondo kicks, like what are you gonna say? Yeah, those are them spinning back kicks, and then we have to see it on Facebook, man. A man like that comes from Vietnam and takes your money and then kick and all ill treats you, man. After taking your money, can barely speak a lick of English, man. They can't speak no English, but they know black people love to give up that English pound easily, man. They know black people love to.
Other and a sister today.
And her sister cried.
The auto of the suspected victim, where family and friends can pray at their home in Do Than village.
Go ahead down to the next part. A minute of us from. Yeah, that part where it says they cannot earn back home. Something about the money they can't earn back home. That part there.
Oh, one of the main goals.
Yeah.
One of their main goals is to send back enough to allow their families to build. One of their main goals is to send back enough to allow their.
So one of their main goals is to come here, make money, and send back enough. Go ahead.
To allow their families to build large homes.
To allow their families to build large homes. So they was going to come here, set up a nail bar, and send all that money back. So that's what they do. You see, when these Chinese women can go to the Louis Vuitton shop and buy all these handbags, man. Because Chinese people love all that. You're the reason they can do that. Go ahead.
On October 21st, days before her family lost contact with her and the news of the doomed shipping container emerged.
That's probably it on that. Is there any, that's probably it. Basically, that's the point I was getting at. And also, have you seen that thing with Boris Johnson and Donald Trump saying the world's one of the world's biggest terrorists? Yeah, they said they caught one of the world's biggest terrorists. What's his name? See if what's his name? I can't remember his name, but it's if you type in Donald Trump ISIS terrorist or whatever, it should come up. And listen, man, Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, they prefer Syrians to you, man. They prefer Arabs to you. So if they've got no love for Arabs, that should let you know they've got even less love for you, man. If they don't listen, Trump claims ISIS whimpered in final moments. There's a next one where it goes, get the part where it says the man ran into a tunnel with 3 kids.
Yeah, I heard
it. You heard it on where?
On the radio, BBC.
What's his name? Baghdadi.
Yeah, went into the tunnel. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and this is the news, basically. Go ahead.
All right. Trump claimed ISIS leader whimpered in final moments.
So Trump claimed ISIS leader whimpered in final moments. Now, this is Esau for you. Esau only cares about when they die. I mean, listen, everybody says to us, oh, why don't you like cry when your oppressors die or something? Listen, man, Donald Trump ain't crying when his oppressors die. Boris Johnson ain't crying when they die. Boris Johnson sees them as not even human to where he can say, oh yeah, he whimpered before his death. Now there's no coming back from death. The way how Donald Trump's mocking him, people get mad at us for these things, man. Listen, Donald Trump is mocking him like the man, according to everybody, God loves everybody. If God loves everybody, God loves, what's his name?
Abu Bakr.
God loves Abu Bakr too, right? If God loves everybody. When you people say God loves everybody, really you don't mean he loves everybody, because all of you lot would have been upset with how Donald Trump just mocked Abu Bakr. If he loved everybody. You only love Esau, man. And this is why when we watch Titanic and we laugh at Jack for getting thrown off the ice, people say, oh, you're evil and you're going to hell. You know why you care so much? Because Jack's Esau, but Abu Bakr's some Arab or whatever the hell he is. No one cares, so it's okay for him to die and whimper like a dog. It's okay for black people to die and whimper like dogs. No one cares. But when it comes to you love Esau, everyone cares and has to have a shrine for them and so forth. Go ahead. There's a part where it says it ran with 3 kids.
President Trump asserted in his televised address from the White House Sunday that the ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was whimpering and crying before ultimately detonating his suicide vest.
Listen, them Arabs is wild men, man. He detonated his suicide vest. Go ahead.
In a tunnel as U.S. commandos closed in, Trump painted the ISIS leader as a coward, describing in great detail how he spent his last moments in utter fear.
Listen, man, Donald Trump don't care about his oppressors, so why should we care about our oppressors, man? Donald Trump's mocking him, man. It's only right. If anything bad happens to our oppressors, we should be able to mock them too without you being mad at us. Go ahead.
Now, you want to know what's funny? They speak about this whole jihad thing, must die, right there. And you know what I've noticed? Anytime when America or the UK find one of them, they don't die. I don't believe the crime. Even Saddam Hussein, a fact, when Saddam Hussein got caught when he was hiding, he said, "Don't shoot, please don't kill me. I am Saddam Hussein." What happened to this jihad? Honorable death.
Exactly. What happened to all these videos that we see on the internet where you got the AKs and you're talking all of this stuff? Said it was whimpering like a dog. Go ahead.
Trump painted the ISIS leader as a coward, describing in great detail how he spent his last moments in utter fear, in total panic and dread, terrified of the American forces.
And listen, man, this right here is what one of these Arabs leaders, man, some of these Muslims leaders, and he spent his last crying like a coward, man. Crying like a coward. Guess what? A black man by the name of Jesus Christ, when he died, he wasn't crying like no coward, man.
That's right.
He took it like a man.
Right.
He didn't even answer them back. Pilate said to him, yo, don't you know that I can make them not kill you and whatnot. Christ didn't answer him a word, man. And he said, yo, listen, you can't do nothing. Christ told him, you can't do nothing, man. He was willing to die, man, for his people, whereas this man here tried to run away and whimpered like a dog and a coward. Listen, this man didn't believe in Allah that much at this time. He was whimpering and crying, man. Christ didn't do none of that, man. He went out like a man. Go ahead.
Terrified of the American forces bearing down on him, he died like a dog. The world is now much a safer place.
Listen, man. And this is and listen. If any of us in here has to die, we're gonna go out like men. You know why? Because the Bible says what? Don't fear them that can kill the body, but fear him that can destroy soul and body in hell, man. Why are we gonna be screaming and whimpering like a dog from from the military, man? Nah, we ain't gonna do that. Go ahead. There's a part where it says does it mention the part with the kids?
Not on this one. My second part. Yeah, he's got a witness that says what happened as well. However, Gildley reiterates that Baghdadi was one of the most grotesque people on the planet, and he died just as the president said, crying and whimpering, running from his ultimate fate.
Crying and whimpering, man. Crying and whimpering. Go ahead. If it's not there, no sir.
Nah, I can get not with the kids using them as a shield.
This man ran off with the kids, man. We're gonna see if we can find that article. Obviously, I just want to bring out these articles just in case no one ain't been watching the news. There's a lot going on. The 39 Vietnamese people. Well, all of them were Vietnamese. Some was Chinese. Some was half was Vietnamese. They said. And then this man that Boris Johnson and everyone's happy about was talking about in Parliament and whatnot.
Yeah. Operation Obliteration, how US gunships cornered ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi before he dragged 3 children with him.
So listen, that part's key. It said he dragged 3 children with him. Go ahead.
Into a dead end tunnel.
Into a dead end tunnel. Not that I care about these Arab kids. Go ahead. Not that I care about them. I just want to show you something. Go ahead.
And detonated a suicide belt. As Donald Trump said, he watched live on a TV link like a
Donald Trump said he watched it live on a TV link like a movie. Now the thing is this. It says that what he blew up, he dragged 3 kids. Now, which lets you know that black people think, oh, these kids, your kids are innocent. Nah, man. Society don't look at your kids like they're innocent. Donald Trump didn't look at these kids like they was innocent. These is kids bearing in mind. He could have at least said, you know what? The kids didn't know nothing about terrorism. There was only babies. There was kids. They didn't need to be involved in this. But he said he watched it like a movie. He said he watched it like a movie, man. Which lets you know, while you're trying to seek Esau's love, he ain't never going to love you, and he's never going to love your kids, man. You teaching your kids that they must go to uni and graduate and get the best job ever and do this and do that. This kingdom ain't never going to love your kids, man. Because if this kingdom did love your kids, Donald Trump would have said it was wrong that he ran off and those 3 kids died. Donald Trump said he enjoyed it and he watched it like a movie, man. Which meant he enjoyed watching 3 kids die. You know why? Because Donald Trump knows that they're terrorists and he just sees these kids as kids of terrorists. And what do they see black people's kids as? Kids as thugs, kids as criminals, kids of murderers. That's what they see black children as, man. So why you think white Britain and Great Britain is going to love you black children? They're never going to love your children, man. We've been trying to get them to love us for all these years, and now we ain't had this love, man. Now we ain't had this love. You should learn from this article, man. Donald Trump watched 3 kids get blown up and said it was like a movie. Now, Donald Trump would have cried his eyes out if it was American kids, if it was his kids. But guess what? He understands that he's a different nation to the Arabs, and he understands that he don't need to love them Arab kids. That's what he understands. And we need to understand that we don't need to love our oppressor or their kids. I hear people saying, oh, how can you, let's say, this person's the devil and it's a baby? What about a baby? How can you say this person's the devil? Listen, Donald Trump didn't care that 3 kids got blown up, man. And you're mad at me for saying that a child of an Edomite is a devil. You can't be mad at me for that, man. Go ahead.
Trump announced ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi died like a dove after being run down a dead-end tunnel. US
after being run down a dead-end tunnel, man. Go ahead.
US-led forces descended on al-Baghdadi's lair in Idlib, Syria.
And listen, man. They found him. Pull me that scripture. It goes, Esau was a cunning hunter. Is it Genesis? It's about Genesis 25 and about 27, I believe. Genesis 25 and 26 or 27. I'm going to show you about Esau, man.
Yeah. Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
Esau was a what?
A cunning hunter.
Listen, man, Esau is a hunter, man. Where did he find Saddam Hussein? He found him under the ground, right? Was it under the ground he found him?
And the only egg he had was a straw above ground. That's what he had.
See, and they found him, man, because Esau's a cunning hunter. But also, listen, you see, everybody that hides, a man hides. Listen, when a black man's looking for someone who hides, we just look behind the door. We look behind the sofa. Listen, you can't listen. Even as a kid, you can't play hide and seek with Esau. Esau's a hunter, man. He will find you, man. You'll be in the wardrobe hiding. Esau will put some bullets in that wardrobe, man. Even though hide and seek's just a game, Esau will put some bullets in that wardrobe, man. Esau is a cunning hunter, and this is why they found Saddam Hussein under the ground. They found him under the ground and they lynched him, man. Did you see the video? It used to be on the internet where they moved the slat and he dropped and he hung. Listen, man, Esau found him under the ground. They claimed they found Bin Laden and every other terrorist, man, because Esau is a cunning hunter, and these characteristics in the Bible fit Esau down to a T. Read that one more time from the top.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, man. And you see, Esau, you can't play with Esau in the field, man. Esau is a cunning hunter. You can hide all you like, but you're not going to get away from him, man. Esau will find you everywhere. And this is why when these fake Israelite groups say something like, oh, you need to flee and break the chip in your passport. You can't hide from Esau, man. He runs the earth and he's a cunning hunter. No matter where you go, he's going to find you, man. This is why all you need to do is stay right here and serve God, man. That's it. It ain't too hard. People make it like, oh, you have to run for your life and hide from Esau and whatnot. But that's it on that. I'm going to go into my topic. I'm just going to finish up this Black History Month. Give me 1 second. Let me get Jeremiah 32 and 37. The book of The book of Jeremiah, chapter 32 and verse, what verse did I want? 37.
Jeremiah 32 and 37. All right. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries.
So listen, the time's coming where what? Soon we're going to be gathered out of all countries. We slaves everywhere. The Lord said, I will gather them out of all countries. The Lord didn't say we need to flee nowhere. The Lord said he will gather us out of all countries, man. Go ahead.
Whither I have driven them, in my anger.
And we was driven to these countries because the Lord was angry with us. Why? Because we wanted to disobey his every order. Everything he told us to do, we wanted to do the opposite. So in his anger, what did he do? Punished us and drove us out of the land of Israel and drive us into all these other countries. So now we're in these other countries. What are we meant to do? Seek him so he can come and redeem us from these countries. Go ahead.
And in my fury and in great wrath.
And the Lord said, in fury and in his great wrath, he drove us out to these countries. Go ahead.
And I will bring them again onto this place.
And the Lord said he's going to bring us again onto this place, man. Soon we're going to be what? Back home, man. Back home in the land of Israel. We're going to have people underneath us following our every command. We're going to have people underneath us doing what we say. Go ahead.
And I will cause them to dwell safely.
And there's going to be a time when we're dwelling safely. There's going to be a time where what? We ain't getting murdered by the policeman. There's going to be a time when what? The Vietnamese ain't trying to come from Vietnam to take our money, man. There's going to be a time when what? We ain't going to be thrown in jail. We ain't dodging cop cars. We ain't running for our life. There's going to come a time, man, when we're going to be dwelling safely. What does it mean to dwell safely? Where no harm's going to come your way.
That's right.
Ain't going to be no police raid, police kicking your door in at 5 a.m. Ain't you going to be scared to go out because you're thinking you're going to get stabbed or shot or go jail for 30 years. None of those things is going to happen, man. We're going to be dwelling safely. Go ahead.
And they shall be my people.
And there's going to be a time when we're the Lord's people, man. We're the Lord's people now, but for a while the Lord said, you know what? I'm gonna turn my back on you and walk contrary to you, man, because we walk contrary to him. The Lord's saying the time's coming when we're going to be his people, and everybody's going to know we're the Lord's people, and there's going to be no more of them teaching us Black History Month only in October.
That's right.
There's going to be no more of that, man. All of that's going to stop. When we dwell in safely, there's not going to be no Halloween. There's not going to be no Christmas. There's not going to be no Easter. If you really want to celebrate Christmas and Easter, the time for you to do that is right now, man. Because in our kingdom, you won't be celebrating no Christmas.
Right.
You won't be celebrating no Easter. All the wickedness that you want to do, you can do that right now. Because the time's coming when all that wickedness is going to be cut off that you ain't going to be able to do. Go ahead.
And I will be their God.
And I will be their God, man. Our power. What verse you at?
Verse 39.
Go ahead.
And I will give them one heart.
And the Lord's going to give us one mind, man. One body, one mind, man. There's not going to in that day, there's not going to be none of in that day, there's not going to be none of God's name is Ahaya, God's name is Yahuwah, God's name is Yahu. There's going to be none of this in that day, man. Go ahead. There's not going to be no the law's done away with. There's not going to be no I'm Old Testament only. Listen, man, there's not going to be none of that in that day. There's not going to be no black on black crime. There's not going to be no you murdering your brother. None of this. Go ahead.
And one way.
And one way, man. Everybody's going to be keeping God's laws in that day, man. You ain't going to have a choice. And the difference is in this kingdom does what? Obviously, world all over the earth is influence for you to sin.
That's right.
So this world influences you to sin. This world influences you to what? Want to go to the strip club, makes a woman want to put on a miniskirt and have her breast all out. This world makes you want to do that because the influence of sin is here. This world makes you want to do all those things. But in our kingdom, that influence ain't gonna be there. In our kingdom, none of this smoking weed is cool, posing with a cigar is cool. None of that is gonna be cool in our kingdom. That influence ain't gonna be there, so you're not gonna do it. The reason most people sin nowadays is what? Because they're influenced by what they see. They're influenced by TV, influenced by movies. In our kingdom, that influence ain't going to be there. So a ton of things that you're doing now, you ain't going to be doing and you ain't going to want to do because you ain't going to be influenced to do it. Like this kingdom is influenced by what? Homosexuality. So loads of people what? Like this kingdom is what? Men like to see what? 2 women kissing. Like men like it. Men that turns some men on, 2 women kissing. When that's disgusting, man. That's homosexuality, same way as 2 men. 2 women is homosexuality the same way as 2 men is homosexuality. But this kingdom teaches what? That it's okay for women to dance on each other. In the club, you see women slapping each other's behinds in the club. This kingdom teaches that's okay. And oh yeah, she's my girlfriend. They're just friends. Nah, man. In our kingdom, you ain't gonna be doing that, man. You ain't gonna be slapping another woman's behind in our kingdom. If you want to slap another woman's behind, the time for you to do that is in Esau's kingdom, because in our kingdom, all of that stuff's gonna stop. Go ahead.
That they may fear me forever.
And listen, man, in that day, you're going to fear the Lord. And what does it mean? When you fear him, you're going to obey him. Because you're going to remember the last time you disobeyed him. What happened the last time you disobeyed him? You jumped on a slave ship. Well, not jumped on, you was chained up and put on a slave ship. You had your back whipped. You picked cotton. Before you even do anything wrong, that's going to come to your mind like, I don't want to go through that again. So you're going to fear him. Go ahead.
For the good of them and for their children after them.
And for their children after them. Go ahead.
And I will make an everlasting covenant.
And the Lord's going to make an everlasting covenant with us. It didn't say with everybody. I mean, all throughout the Old Testament, when the Lord's talking about making a covenant, it's always with Israel. So how do you get to the New Testament and say, okay, he's changed his mind, he's going to make one with the whole world now? Nah, man, he didn't say that. Go ahead.
With them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my ear in their hearts.
Listen, man, the day is going to come when you're going to serve the Lord, man. You're going to serve the Lord. That day is coming, man. The Lord's going to make a covenant with us. Go ahead.
That they shall not depart from me.
And listen, we ain't going to depart from God in that day, man. The time's coming. Now's the time to get right, man. So we can all walk into our kingdom, man. Drop that. Give me Jeremiah 12:9. That day is coming, man.
Jeremiah 12:9. My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
Is as a speckled bird, man. A speckled bird comes in what, like different shades? A speckled bird comes in what, different shades, man, but it's still the same bird. Go ahead. That's like us. That's like Israel, man. We all look different, man. We're still one nation. Go ahead.
The birds round about are against her.
The birds round about are against her. And these birds round about us, they're against blacks and Hispanics, man. They try to devour us. There's a time coming when what? They ain't gonna be devouring us no more. The time's coming when what? They ain't gonna shoot us dead like they did Mark Duggan. The time's coming when what? They ain't gonna be able to throw us in jail. The time's coming, man. Go ahead.
Against her, come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard.
And listen, man, all your pastors ain't saying nothing. Everybody's against you, and your pastors is keeping quiet, man. Your pastors is doing what? Keeping quiet and taking gifts from our oppressors. And now Ed Sheeran's going to play Marvin Gaye, and I bet a pastor agrees with it and sanctions it and be like, yeah, that's fine. Your pastors do all these things, man. Your pastors is who people go to. People believe in the pastor because he dresses what? Nice. Got the nice suit on, the nice crocodile shoes. He dresses nice, man. He speaks well. He speaks the Queen's English, man. He speaks good English. You can tell he's somewhat educated. He's just not educated in the Bible, man.
Right.
He just ain't educated in the Bible. He's educated when it comes to what? Science and maths and English. People go to him for help. And before he tells them, all these nations is against you, guess what he tells them? God loves everybody. He's telling you God loves everybody. Meanwhile, these beasts around you is trying to devour you, man. Everybody's trying to kill you. Everybody's trying to steal from you. And you're asking the pastor, and the pastor's telling you God loves everybody. That don't make no sense, man. If God loved everybody, why is everybody trying to kill you, man? Everybody's trying to kill you, man. And he's telling you that in the Bible. Read that part from the top.
Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard.
Listen, man, these pastors destroy the house of Israel, man. They destroying us as a nation, these pastors are. They pacifying us. They making us weak. They making us, they're making black men say things like tank. Did you hear what he said? They're making, these pastors is making black men think it's okay to say things like tank. Go ahead.
They have trodden my portion underfoot.
And listen, man, that's what these pastors do, man. These pastors do this celebrating Black History Month. You got that damn what's his name? Desmond Jadu. Desmond Jadu, some East Indian, thinks he can speak for Black history. Just because you got a Jamaican accent, it don't make you black.
Right.
He thinks that makes him black. He thinks this is what they think. Them East Indians in Jamaica think what? Because they got a Jamaican accent, they think they can, that makes them black. No, man, that don't make you black, man. All you are is an East Indian that lives in Jamaica, man.
Right.
That's all you are, man. It does not make you black. They need to know that. I think black people get that confused. Black people get it confused, man. Black people think, yeah, because this person sounds Jamaican, they're black. No, man, it don't work like that. That's some lies you've been taught along the way here. Go ahead.
They have made my pleasant ocean a desolate wilderness.
Listen, man, that's what these pastors do. Drop that. Give me Ezekiel 37:1. It's evident that the pastor's destroying us. Just go to church and go there for 2 hours and tell me what you've learned and tell me what the pastor's read from the Bible. Tell me show me what is read from the Bible. Go ahead.
Ezekiel 37:1. The hand of the Lord was upon me.
So this is Ezekiel. Go ahead.
And carried me out in the spirit of the Lord.
So the hand of the Lord was on him and carried him out in the spirit. Go ahead.
And set me down in the midst of the valley.
So it set him down in a valley. It set him down in a place. Go ahead.
Which was full of bones.
And it sat him down in a valley which was full of bones. And what do people call it? A boneyard? Is it a boneyard or whatever? It sat him down in a valley full of bones. So he's looking around and he's seeing bones. And what's bones? Bones is something from what? Something that's dead. He's just seeing the bones. He's not seeing the flesh. He's just seeing like skeletons. I think they call it a skeleton yard. Is that what they call it?
That's right.
A skeleton yard, isn't it? So yeah, he's in a place that's a skeleton yard. He's seeing skulls, ribs, and so forth. He's seeing skeletons. Go ahead.
And caused me to pass by them round about.
And caused them to pass by them round about. So he's in a valley full of skeletons, and then it's caused him to pass round about. So he's walking around and he's seeing skeletons on top of skeletons. Go ahead.
And behold, there were very many.
And it says there were very many men. So this was an open valley, and there was many, many, many bones in this valley. Go ahead.
And lo, they were very dry.
And it says, lo, these bones are very dry. And what does this mean if the bones are very dry? It means that these bones have been there for a long time. The reason that these bones are dry is because they've been there for a long time. Like when somebody dies and they're just a skeleton, they look at the bone, the bone denture and everything to work out how long it's been there and whatnot. If they done forensics on these bones would have been there for years and years and years because these bones was very dry. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live?
And imagine someone saying to you, you've seen bones. Just look at it like this. You see chicken bones all the time. Imagine you've just seen a chicken bone and someone said to you, oh, can this chicken live? You're going to be like, huh? This chicken's dead. It's just the bone. It asked him, can these bones live that is seen in the valley? Go ahead.
And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest.
And listen, Ezekiel said, Lord, only you know, man. Ezekiel looked at the state of these bones. In Ezekiel's mind, he's thinking, nah, they can't. But he's saying, only you know, because it was that bad. These bones were dry like they had been there for ages. Go ahead.
Right. Again, he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones.
It says, prophesy upon these bones, man. And then you'd be thinking, why would I prophesy unto bones? They're not going to respond. This is these bones are dead. There's nobody home. It's just bones. Why would I prophesy? And all that right there, it's going to tell you who he's actually read on.
And say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
And it says, "O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord." So Ezekiel's to say to these dry bones that have been dead for so long, where Ezekiel's looking at them thinking, only you know if these bones can live, Lord. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you.
So it's to say to these dry bones, I will cause breath to enter into you. But obviously, these dry bones is the house of Israel. Like us as a people, we were so dead at one stage, man, that we were compared to these dry bones, that we are these dry bones. Whereas what? You see those black men that you see smoking weed on the street corners, and your pastor says to them, "Oh, you know what? Just let them die. They'll never change." Your pastor sees those dry bones, and your pastor's the one that's saying these bones can't live. Your pastor saying there's no point us wasting our time with those dry bones because those dry bones can't live. That's what your pastor says, man. But the Lord said, what? Prophesy to those dry bones. You see that black man that you see strung out on drugs? You better prophesy to that dry bone, man.
That's right.
You see that sister that's a whore? You better prophesy to that dry bone, man. You see those black men that's in gangs shooting and stabbing and doing whatever to one another? You better prophesy to them dry bones, man. The Lord told Ezekiel, prophesy to them dry bones. And that's what we do in the I.S.U.P.K. Your pastor don't prophesy to them dry bones. You know why? Because he sees them as dry bones that can't live, man. But we know with the Lord, everything's possible.
Right.
But your pastor he truly don't believe in the Lord. So he don't believe it's possible. So he don't prophesy to them dry bones. He just leaves those bones and says, you know what? These bones are so dry. They've been out here for a long time. No point. That's what your pastor says, man. Not us here, though. Go ahead.
And ye shall live, and I will lay sinews.
And listen, the Lord said, prophesy to them, man. Meaning what? You prophesy to all those people who the world's written off, man. You Christian pastors written off what? All these brothers as dry bones, man.
Right.
All these brothers in the jailhouse as dead and useless to society and worthless. This whole world writes off black men as useless and worthless and good for nothing. This whole world writes black men off as that. This whole world sees black men as dry bones that can't live, man. The Lord's saying those bones can live. The Lord's saying prophesy to those dry bones. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And I will lay sinews upon you.
And sinews is what? Muscles, man. Sinews is muscles. The Lord is like tissues. The Lord's saying prophesy to these dry bones, man. And I'll put sinews on them bones, man. Meaning I'll bring those bones back to life. I'll start to freshen up those bones, man. Those bones will be less dry, man. Like when you first come in here, if you're a mad weed addict, what do? You stop smoking weed. You stop getting lineups. You stop getting tattoos. That's you having muscles on you and coming together and so forth. You coming out from that dry bone state. Go ahead.
And will bring up flesh.
And will bring up flesh upon you, meaning what? Before you was keeping these laws, you was dead. But once you start keeping them, the Lord's going to put flesh upon you, man. This is a spirit. This is him out in the spirit. So the Lord's showing him. But how I'm explaining it to you is how it is. The Lord was just showing them dry bones and saying, listen, prophesy to them and I'll bring flesh upon them. Meaning what? Us, once we was dead, until we start keeping God's laws and whatnot, then the Lord brings sinews upon us, flesh upon us, so forth. Go ahead. Meaning what? You start to live again. Meaning you start to get back certain things. Go ahead.
And cover you with skin and put breath in you.
And cover you with skin and put breath in you, man. The Lord's about to put breath in us. What's the breath of life, man? When you keep God's laws, man, that's breath in you. You live in. You need breath to live. You need to breathe to live. And what? You need to keep God's laws to live, man. That's the comparison. Go ahead.
And ye shall live.
And what?
Ye shall live.
So the Lord's saying, you know what? These dry bones, prophesy to them. And then once these dry bones listen, put down the weed, put down the drugs. I'll raise them up and they will live, man. Once upon a time, we was in here dead. Once upon a time in here, we was dead, man. We weren't keeping God's laws. We was doing whatever felt right to us. Whatever sounded good. Whatever pastor said. We was doing whatever pastor said, man. Whatever pastor said that sounded nice. That's what we was doing. Go ahead.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord, man. And we need to thank the Lord every day for having mercy on us, man. for allowing us to come out of just being a bone in the valley, man. We was just bones in the valley. The Lord had mercy on us enough to allow us to be more than just a bone in the valley, man. The Lord had mercy on us enough than to just what? Write us off how the rest of the world writes us off. How your pastor writes us off as to say, these people can't never do nothing good. These people can't never change. These people are useless. These people are good for nothing. The Lord sees something in us, man. And the Lord sees that we can change, man. And that's why the Lord gave us a second chance. The Lord gave us a chance to where we can come back, man. To where we don't ever have to be a slave again. We don't ever have to celebrate another damn October Black History Month. We don't ever have to celebrate Halloween again. Go ahead.
Verse 7. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking.
So as he prophesied, as he spoke, went to camp like we do, there was a noise and there was a shaking, meaning what? These bones that was dead before, these bones that was dried before, these bones are starting to move, man. These bones which you thought have just been dead and useless forever, these bones have started to move, man. These bones are shaking and coming together now. Go ahead.
And the bones came together.
And the what?
The bones came together.
And the bones came together, man. Go ahead.
Bone to his bone.
Bone to his bone, man. Go ahead.
And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh.
So these bones came together, man. They heard this prophesying, and they did what? Them bones came together, man. Them bones was all scattered, separate. Them bones was involved in what? Hating black people and black on black crime, man. Them bones was what? Criminal activities, doing all whatever. These bones started to come together, man. Go ahead.
And the flesh came upon them.
And the bones came together and the flesh came upon them. Go ahead.
And the skin covered them above.
So now, each day, these dry bones, which was dry, became better. One day the bones became what? Less dry. Muscles came on them. Flesh came on them, meaning what? They started to come to class, man. They started to learn what they was doing wrong. They started to learn which one of God's laws they was breaking. They started to learn how to keep God's laws, how to deal with one another. Go ahead.
But there was no breath in them.
But at this time, they wasn't fully there yet. They wasn't fully there yet. They was learning as they go along. They was doing things one step at a time, like how you do things. This is why what? When you come to truth, you have what? A 90-day period to shed yourself of the world, man. You have a 90-day period to shed yourself of the world. Go ahead.
Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind.
And it says, prophesy unto the wind, man. Go ahead.
Prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain.
And breathe upon these slain. So these bones were dead. Same like without the truth, we was dead. Without the truth, Adam was dead. And this is why when it says the Lord created Adam, it means Adam was Adam obviously was living before that. But when it says he created Adam, it means he what? Made Adam a righteous man on that day, gave Adam his law, statutes, and commandments. That's what that's talking about. It ain't talking about it literally what? Done some surgical work on Adam. Ain't talking about it did what? Put Adam under anesthetic and put on one of those things that they put on their mouth. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Ain't talking about it put one of those things on his mouth and put on them blue gloves like your doctor does and put on an apron. Creation, it ain't talking about none of that, man. Go ahead.
That they may live.
It says prophesy to them that they may live, man. And how do you live? You live when you start keeping God's laws. There's plenty of people here living that ain't living, man. Listen, there's plenty of people with there's plenty of people with cancer that ain't living, man. There's plenty of people with what? Diabetes and high blood pressure that ain't living, man. They're alive, but they're not living. There's plenty of people who's bedbound and so forth. They're alive, but they ain't living, man. What the Lord sees as living is you keeping his law, statutes, and commandments. That's living, man. Go ahead.
So I prophesied as he commanded me.
So Ezekiel said he prophesied as he was commanded. Go ahead.
And the breath came into them.
And he prophesied and prophesied and prophesied, man. Go ahead.
And they lived and stood up on their feet.
And they lived, man, and stood up on their feet, meaning what? They started to stand up, man. They lived and stood upon their feet. They no longer was what? Docile no more. They no longer was what? Just happy to just go to work and so forth. Because a ton of our people are just what? They don't mind being slaves. They're just happy to, have a good job, happy to have a university degree. I'm sorry to tell you if you don't know already, a university degree doesn't change your nationality, man. You can have the best degree in the world, but you're still a nigger, man.
Right.
They still look at you as a nigger, even though you got the best degree in the world. Oprah's one of the richest women in the world, man. And Oprah went to buy a bag. And guess what happened? They racial profiled her. Everywhere you go, black people are racial profiled. Listen to that, my slave, man. There was a sister. She stole just today. She stole a fragrance, a Hugo Boss fragrance. She stole it. I was the only one that seen her take it. So obviously the manager seen it as well. So I've gone to her. When you catch the shoplifters, what you're supposed to do is what? You're meant to bring them upstairs, take them to the security lodge and phone the policeman. This was a sister. I said to her, you know what? Just give me the fragrance and go through the door. And she looked me dead in the eyes and she looked like she was about to cry. She's like, thank you. I've let her go through the door. The manager's like, oh, why didn't you bring her upstairs? I said, because obviously we close in a minute and there's no time. But guess what? 5 minutes after that, 2 Polish women came and stole a jacket. I took them to the lodge, man. I had all the time in the world, man. I took them to the lodge and made sure they called the police and them Polish women, man. And that's how you have to deal with black people, man. You need to have mercy on black people, man. Because, I mean, if you're going to treat black people how everybody else treats black people, you can't be in the truth, man. That don't make you ain't in the truth if you're treating black people like garbage, man. You need to have mercy on your brothers, man. I'm meant to call the police and this sister and they arrest her for what? For her stealing a fragrance, man. Listen, at work, at my slavery, they racial profile black people all the time. All the time they racial profile black people. I seen one of the Asians say to some Asian man, oh, I'm letting you go because you're Asian. He said, I'm letting you go because you're Asian. Listen, well, I'm letting this sister go because she's black.
Right.
I mean, he loves his people. Let me love my people. So you let all your people go, and I'm gonna let all my people go. You can't be mad at me for letting my people go when you let your people go. Obviously, you want to love your people, and I want to love my people. So I'm gonna let my people go. I'm gonna call the police on your people. That's what I'm gonna do. That's how it goes. Go ahead.
An exceeding great army.
And listen, the time's coming now where we're standing on our feet, man, and we're becoming a great and exceeding army. And if you look at the I.S.U.P.K, that's a great army, man. Ready to do what? The 51st Passover.
Right.
The 51st Passover, man, April 9th. Start saving up, man. Or you should already be saving. We've been announcing it for ages. We've been announcing it. Start saving it, man. And coming down to the Passover. And let me tell you something else, man. The I.S.U.P.K is the place to be. Listen, there's people that I've never met before, man. But I say you come to the Passover and they know this is the house of the Lord. And Officer Parasha, listen, they don't even know where they're staying, but they still come to New York to the Passover because they know this is the house. They know this is set up by the Lord, man. People we've never met are willing to jump on a plane with us, man. 8-9 hours away, man. Guess what? You black men that are in Islam, you wouldn't do that. You know why? Because you know Islam is not a religion of God, man. You know they ain't got no morals and no moral conduct. Whereas in here, you know a brother ain't gonna harm a hair on your head, man. Right. So you can speak to a brother that you've never met. Listen, before Captain Mashak came to the UK, we've never seen him in person, man. I believe Officer Parasha's in that Passover. Actually, before Officer Parasha went to his first Passover in New York, he's never met them brothers, but he knows that they're down with the Lord, man. And he was able to go there, not knowing where he's staying, not knowing where he's going from the airport, but there's a brother there to pick him up, man. You only get that kind of loyalty and love in the I.S.U.P.K. Right. Honestly, you don't get that nowhere else, man. In the IUIC, what happens? You get buried in a field in, where was it, Hertfordshire? Yeah. You in the IUIC, you think you can trust them. You get buried in Hertfordshire, man. In the GLCC, you think you can trust them. You go all the way to Cyprus looking for your pastor, and he's hiding from you, man. He's hiding from you, man, telling you all of this. Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
He's actually going back to American
Is he back there now?
Yeah.
For good.
They're like,
See, so much for you have to flee. Now he's back in America, man. Now he's back in the place where he was saying, if you don't flee, you're gonna die in the destruction. Now he's gone right back there. Listen, man, your religious leaders is double-minded.
right.
They're double-minded and they tell you a vision of their own mind and they lie to you and whatnot. Go ahead.
Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel.
And these bones is the whole house of Israel, man. The whole house of Israel is what? These bones, which is looked down upon, man. Which is looked on as thugs, which is looked on as criminals, which is looked on as murderers, which is looked on as deadbeat dads, which is looked on just as niggers and slaves. And these bones is the whole house of Israel, man. These bones is the whole house of Israel. You see right here where it goes, these bones is the whole house of Israel. It didn't say that Oprah's extinct. It didn't say that Oprah's not part of these dry bones. It didn't say that Kanye West is not part of these dry. Kanye West is part of these dry bones, and he don't even know it, man.
Right.
Him out there making these gospel albums and trying to please his white supporters, which is oppressing us, man. Him trying to please all of them, man. Listen, they look at you like you're a dry bone, man. They look at Floyd Mayweather, millionaire, as a dry bone, man. All these rich black celebrities, they look at us as we dry bones, man. That's how they look at us, man. Like we dry bones. You're trying to think what? No, not extinct. I mean exempt. That was the word I was looking for. It didn't say Oprah's exempt from these dry bones, even though she thinks she is. It didn't say what? All your rappers and all these rich people is exempt from these dry bones. It didn't say that, man. Everybody still looks at you like you're part of these dry bones, man. From your part of this nation, they paint us all with the same brush, man. They paint us all with the same brush. So we might as well just come together as niggas and be together, man. Where we're all the same instead of us trying to what? Branch off and move to Little Aston and Sutton Coldfield and Fort Oaks, trying to live amongst people that hate us. We're always trying to live amongst folks that hate us, man. Trying to live amongst folks that can't stand us. Why don't we just all be amongst one another? Go ahead.
Behold, they say our bones are dry.
Hold on, they say what?
Our bones are dry.
Listen, man, that's what everybody says. Black men are lazy. That's what they say. Black men are deadbeat dads. Black men don't want to work. Black men are aggressive. Black men are violent. They say our bones is dried. Go ahead.
And our hope is lost.
And they say there's no hope for black people, man. Listen, this whole world sees that there's no hope for black people. They see that black people are just criminals and there's no hope for us. They teach our kids that there's no hope for them. And this is why black men believe that they're going to be dead before they're 25, man. Because they tell us that, yo, you know what? You're so far gone and there's no hope for you. Like all these rappers that rap say, oh, some of them are lying, but they say, oh, my teacher in school told me I never amount to nothing. Most of them, for the most part, most of them are telling the truth, man. The teacher did say you're not going to amount to nothing. You know why? Because she says there's no hope for you. She sees that you're black and says there's no hope for you. Even in schools, they spend less time with black students than anybody else because they don't care about your progress. And black children fall behind in school because the teacher don't care. Meanwhile, black people is being the class clown. You don't know that what? The teacher don't mind that you're being the class clown because she knows in 10 years' time you're going to jail anyway. This teacher sees it as let him be the class clown because in 10 years' time he's going to be in jail anyway. In 15 years' time he's going to be dead anyway. That's how they see it, man. They see it that there's no hope for black people. They see that our bones is dried and there's no hope for us. Go ahead.
And if you can add, a lot of them, they're angry because really they wanted to do their career in predominantly white schools.
Right.
Kids. But for them to come to handwork
exactly
and to berate them, the Peckhams, they're pissed off. Like, I've done all these years to be among these people. And that's why they don't want to learn you or don't want to give you the time as it should. Exactly,
man. That's a heavy point. And that right there is true, man. They would rather what? Work in Fort Oaks, rather work in a private school. They're just mad that they went to university to get away from seeing black people, and now they have to teach black kids, man. You can tell that they don't care about black kids. Even in this place, man, most of the black kids is what? Free school dinners. Because we come from a poor background, man. Most of us is free school dinners. You see them white kids that have all the packed lunch with all the Kit Kats and the chocolates, and you're asking them for some of their packed lunch. I remember in primary school, man, Esau used to near enough give me their packed lunch, man. You know, when they have all these extra chocolates, and they had all of these new things that we could only see advertised on TV, you know, cheese strings and so forth, and Baby Bell. We only seen it advertised on TV, man. Black people wasn't privileged enough to have Baby Bell and cheese strings. And then they had those little sandwich makers, you know, the ones where it comes with the crackers and the little cheese and the what was that box called again? I can't remember what it was called. Was it Derrily Dunkleys or whatever it was? Was that what it was called? Black people, we weren't privileged enough to have that. The only time we got to have that is when what? Some Edomite in your class basically gave you his packed lunch because he's so rich and didn't need it, man. We was free school dinners, man. We've always been hard behind in everything. Go ahead.
Our hope is lost. We are cut off.
We are what?
We are cut off.
The whole world sees us as we are cut off, man. The whole world sees us as we're good for nothing. These people is a nation of failures. These people is good for nothing. These people is aggressive and that's it. Listen, these other nations only love you when you can do something for them, man. They only love you when you can either sing, dance, or rap. And then after that, when you washed up, they no longer love you no more, man. Once you washed up, they no longer love you no more. They let you know that you're just like every other nigga. They just throw you back to the rest of the other niggas, man. You moved out from us because you wanted to go live your nice high life, and then you have to come back right by us, man. Go ahead.
We are cut off for our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open your grave.
And listen, man, what's a grave? A grave is where you bury someone when they're dead, man. The way we go in, the way we live in, the way we've been living, is like we're dead, is like we're in a grave, man. Go ahead.
Open your grave and cause you to come up out.
And listen, man, these other nations hate it that now we're coming up out of the graves, man. They hate it that what we don't love them. You see every other time, Esau wants to tell black people how much they hate us. But when they come in front of the I.S.U.P.K and we talk to them like they're dogs and animals, they're ready to cry their eyes, man, because they realize that we don't love them. And once you stop loving them, they stop having that stronghold over you, man. Their stronghold over you is what you love in them. Once you stop loving them, they no longer have that stronghold over you, man. They no longer what? They no longer can run games on you no more, man. We understand Esau's racist. So every report that we see when he's being racist, do you think we go home and cry? Nah, man, we just say, yo, that's his true nature, man. We understand that's his true nature. He's supposed to be racist, man. That's his job to be racist, man. His job is to oppress. His job is to be evil, man. Go ahead.
Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land.
Listen, man,
Israel.
the Lord's going to rise us up, man. And it's only time. It's about time we wake up, man. It's about time we wake up, man. All these lies, the gig's up, man. All these lies we've been told. Black people are finally starting to wake up. Not all, but a few are starting to wake up. And we're starting to see this place for what it is, man. We're starting to see that this place is hell. For time's sake, drop that. Give me Ezekiel 34 and 28. We're starting to wake up, man. We're starting to smell the coffee. And we're starting to see that we can't love our oppressors no more. We can't let them we can't let them enslave us no more. We're starting to see that this man enslaved us. We're starting to see that we ain't going to let him enslave our mind any longer, man. He ain't going to brainwash us no more. He ain't going to tell us that Jesus Christ is white no more. We ain't having none of that now, man. Now that we know that King James is black and the Bible's a black man's book and Henry VIII was black and King Charles was black and the first white man to sit on the British throne was what? Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell. And he officially weren't even the king. He was Basically, had all the privileges of the king, but he weren't the king. Oliver Cromwell did what? Killed King Charles in front of what's the place called now? I can't remember what the place is called. Basically, it's the House of Windsor, right? Is it the House of Windsor? Yeah, killed him in front of the House of Windsor, man. They went against him, beheaded him, killed him, and so forth. Go ahead. And then after that, Oliver Cromwell started to do what? Kill all the other black people that was in Britain, and then he started to send some of them to the Caribbean, so Montserrat, and then I believe and then he also sent the Irish ones to Barbados. And this is why people say, oh, the Irish were slaves. But when you look at it, the black Irish were slaves, man. Obviously now, the white Irish, people didn't like them, but they was never slaves how we were slaves, man. People just didn't like them. You see, like how today people don't like Romanians and whatnot. It's just like that, man. The Irish saying, oh, we were slaves. No, man, listen, man, you're lying, man. And even if you was slaves, man, nobody ain't ever been slaves like we've been slaves, man. Nobody ain't never been slaves like we've been slaves. The Irish still have their surnames, man. Why is it Paddy and O'Doherty and whatnot? The Irish still have their slaves, man, their surnames. Whereas black people, we don't have our own surnames. This is why our surnames is names like Johnson, Gardner, Smith. Any surname which Esau's got, we have it because what they enslaved us, man. Whereas Africans still have their surnames, man. African surnames is things like what Awusu, like Nana Awusu and whatnot, and all these things, man. Africans still have their surnames, man. East Indians still have their surname, which is Singh and Khan and all of these things. It's only us who don't have our surname. We have John and Smith because we slaves, man. Everybody else saying they were slaves. They've still, listen, the Irish saying they were slaves. They've still got Ireland, man. They've still got Ireland, man. Listen, a black man who's a slave, he doesn't know what he has, man. A black man who's a slave will tell you, oh yeah, I'm from Jamaica. And then you can show him history. You can show him that he was in West Africa before he was in Jamaica. And then he will say, oh, well, originally from Ghana. We can show him that before he was in West Africa where he was, man. We don't know where we come from. We can only go back as far as Jamaica. Speak to any Jamaican or any whatever. We can only go back as far as Jamaica, man. People ask you, oh, where's your family from? We say Jamaica, because that's only as far as we can go back. Whereas what an African man can say, you know what? I'm from the lineage of Mansa Musa and blah 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 blah. Mansa Musa and Shaka Zulu was my this and that. All of this nonsense. People say Shaka Zulu was an Israelite. Look, man, it wasn't, man. All of this is a lie. What's the other one that they say was an Israelite? Was it Hannibal?
Hannibal, yeah.
The people trying to say Hannibal was an Israelite. No, man. Hannibal was a Canaanite, I believe. Hannibal was a Canaanite, man. We ain't one of those, man. Every other nation can tell you where they're from, what country they've got. Chinese people come from China, man. Irish people, they know that they have Ireland. Japanese people, they know that they have Japan. Hawaiians know that they have Hawaii. Pakistanis know that they have Pakistan. And now everybody else has a nationality. But black people's nationality is what? Black. Our nationality is, to everyone, our nationality is black. Listen, in this world, there's only two colors in this world, man. Black and white, man. Everybody else is what? If I say to you, what color is this Chinese man? You're going to say, oh, his color is Chinese, man. Before you think about it, I say, what color is he? If I just point to a Chinese man and say, what color is he? You ain't going to say he's yellow. You're going to say he's Chinese. That's what they say, right? He's Chinese. If I ask you, what color is that Pakistani man? You're going to say, oh, he's Pakistani. Listen, there's some Bengalis darker than me. And you don't say that they're black. Them Bengalis darker than me. You don't say that they're black. But when it comes to us, we known as the black people, man, because we ain't got no nationality. We ain't got no land. We ain't got no heritage. We don't know where we come from. We're just black. We're the only people on the face of the earth who people call a color. You don't call a Chinese man a color. You don't call a Pakistani man a color. Even an African man ain't even called a color. You say he's African. That's what you say, man. But when it comes to us, oh, he's black. Listen, when you ask someone, oh, what color is he? Like, say for instance, say a woman's got a partner and her partner's African. Someone will say, what color is he? She'll say, oh, my partner's African. Now, if it's one of us, what would she say? If her partner's Officer Parasha, what would she say? She'll say, my partner's black. Because we're the only people on the face of this earth where people call us a color, black. Everybody else has a nationality, man. But we don't know what we are, so we just go with, yeah, we're black. Read, actually, drop that for time's sake. For time's sake, give me Daniel chapter 7 and verse 25.
Daniel 7 and 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and
go ahead.
And think to change times and laws.
And think to change times and laws, man. This devil ruling over us. He changes laws, man. You see the honestly, I'm gonna tell you what the Christian church say. The Christian church think that changing laws and times is what the clock's going back. They think changing laws and that is the clock's going back. That's what they think it is, man. The clock. When did the clocks go back? Was it Sunday?
Yeah. Correct.
Christians think that's what changing times means. They see, because he changes the times and he put the clock forward. He puts the clock forward and backwards. They think that that's what changing laws and times mean, man. I don't mean that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times.
And that just means basically for a long amount of time. Was it someone tried to break down how long that time is? Listen, that just means a long period of time. That's all that means, man. And it says he shall change laws and times, whereas now what? He's changing God's laws, man. It's okay to be a transgender. It's okay to be a lesbian. It's okay to be this. It's okay to be all of that, man. Give me 2nd Ezra 6 and 9 real quick. So now I'm going to get to the part where what? One day we're going to... there's one here if you need one. Now. Another thing that doesn't sit right with me, man. Everybody else, everybody else is what? Living life, man. Doing whatever they want. All these nations, what? Is ruling the earth while we suffer, man. And then when we talk about what? We're gonna get the kingdom, everyone's mad at us, man. When we talk about what we're gonna be ruling this earth, everyone's mad at us. Read that for me.
2nd Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
For Esau is the end of the world, man. That's where we at right now, the end of the world. Go ahead.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, meaning what? You see this world that you see right now? This is the end of it, man. Esau is the end of it, and we the beginning. We're going to be the beginning of it, man. We're going to rule this world one day, man. One day this world is going to be a black man's world, man. You see how people say it's a white man's world? Lo and behold, soon this is going to be a black man's world. Go ahead.
And the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand.
It says the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. So when you read Genesis, it says that Esau came out and Jacob came out after holding Esau's heel. So that's why it says that. And it says the hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand, meaning what? Man, the rest of the hand in between is all the other nations. They just go with whoever's ruling at the time, meaning what? If Esau's ruling, the world just does what Esau wants. When we ruling, the world's going to do what we want. So they just go with the flow. You see, like you have a movie and you have extras. These other nations is just the extras. They're just doing whatever whoever's in power does. So now the heel is in charge. So they're just doing whatever the heel wants them to do. When the hand's in charge, which is us, they're going to go wherever we go. They're just going with who's ever in power at the time. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead.
Are there questions, Ezra?
Drop that. Give me Revelations 5 and 10 real quick. Also, another thing, man. Everybody, listen to this. Everybody else gets to rule the world, man. All nations have got to rule the world. The Egyptians ruled at one time. The Assyrians, the Persians, Esau, Rome, the Romans. Everyone's got to rule the world at one time. But why, when it comes to black people, and where did they rule? They ruled on the earth, man. But when it comes to black people, we have to die in order for us to rule. Why, man? Why can't we rule on the earth too, man? You mean to say all these other nations got to rule this earth, but we have to go to heaven and just sit in heaven and rule in heaven? Why can't we rule here like everybody else, man? Listen, man, in church, your pastor lies to you. He makes out like what? Every other nation's got to rule this earth here, but when it's your chance to rule, you have to be in heaven. Nah, man. We're going to rule this earth, man. Read that for me.
That's right. Revelations 5:10. And has made us unto our God kings and priests.
Kings and priests, man. Go ahead.
And we shall reign on the earth.
And we shall what?
Reign on the earth.
Listen, man. All of this, I need to die and go to heaven to rule. I must be a good slave here and die and go to heaven to rule. The Bible says I'm going to reign on the earth. You know why? Because the Egyptians reigned on the earth, man. The Assyrians reigned on the earth, man. The Persians, the Medes, every nation reigned on the earth, man. And guess what? It's only right that we reign on the earth. When they reigned on the earth, guess what happened? They had slaves, man. So why must I die and go to heaven? And then everybody comes to heaven with me and we just all good in heaven. Nah, man. I want to reign on the earth with slaves also, man. I want to reign on the earth with slaves and whatnot. Go ahead.
And I beheld and heard a voice of many angels.
That's it on that. Drop that. Give me Daniel chapter 2 and verse 20. Get me wrap this up for 20. Give me Daniel 2 and verse 20. When it comes in order for me to rule, I must die first and then float off to heaven. Like you pastor makes it. I must die and float off to heaven. And then I'm in heaven with my slave master, and we're both chasing pollen in heaven. That's how they make out like heaven's this place where there's just nothing there. It's just grass and blue skies and all nice little daffodils. Meanwhile, I have to have nice little daffodils. Meanwhile, this man right here had all the gold on the earth, man, all the riches, had slaves, and I have to wait until I die to chase daffodils. Nah, man. Listen, the lies up, man. We're done with these stupid lies now. Go ahead.
Daniel 2 and 20. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his, and he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings.
He does what?
Removeth kings.
Listen, man. Why do I have to die to get heaven, man? The Lord changes time and the Lord removes kings, man. And the Lord's getting ready to remove this king of the earth, man. And once he removes this king of the earth, we're going to be reigning on the earth, man. Go ahead.
And setteth up kings.
The Lord removes kings and sets up kings. The Lord did what? Raised up the Egyptians so he could destroy them, man. Go ahead.
He giveth wisdom unto the wise.
Listen, man. The Lord sets up kings and removes kings. And now, when it's almost time for the king of this earth to be removed, you're telling me I have to die and go to heaven? Nah, man. The Bible says we shall reign on the earth, man.
That's right.
Why do I need to go and float off into the sky? I need to be on the earth where there's cotton which needs to be picked, man. I need to be on the earth where there's a sugar cane that needs to be cut, man. Because somebody needs to do that for me, because I had to do it for them. I had to cut their sugar cane, so I need to reign on the earth where they can cut my sugar cane, man. So the tables can turn. I must do all this hard work for them, and now when it's time for them to do hard work, I must just float off. Nah, man. It don't work like that. Drop that. Give me Acts 1 and 6. So I can't get slaves because what? Listen, man, your pastor's lying to you, man. They teach you, just be a good slave. Listen, man. We on this earth fighting, man. So we can rule this earth. Because one day we're going to run this earth, man. The Lord's going to destroy this rulership. And we're going to be in charge. Go ahead.
Acts 1 and 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him.
Now they came to Christ, and this is what they asked Christ back then. Go ahead.
Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom of Israel?
See, and they said, will you at this time restore the kingdom of Israel? Meaning what? When they had the kingdom of Israel, where was it? It was on the earth. And then when Christ came on the scene, they asked, are we going to get the kingdom right now that you're here? Obviously, they weren't going to get it at that time. We're going to get it later on. They weren't going to get it at that time. They asked, are you going to restore the kingdom to Israel? They understood that the kingdom is on earth, man. They understood that they was going to reign on the earth. That's what they understood in the book of Acts, man. What, your pastor's lying to you, believing that you need to die and float off into heaven? No, man. We're going to reign on the earth. We're going to have slaves here. We're going to have them picking cotton here. We're going to have them picking coffee and so forth. They're going to be doing all of those things. They're going to be building houses. They're going to be building ships and everything, man. They're going to be doing the gardening. They're going to be doing everything. You see, everything that you need done. You're going to have slaves and servants that's going to do it, man. Because they had slaves and servants that had to do it for them. While they was ruling, racism was okay, man. While they was ruling, racism was okay, and it was thriving and it was good, and they became rich off it. And then now that we tell them that they're going to be our slaves, racism also all of a sudden becomes bad. Racism all of a sudden becomes slavery also all of a sudden becomes against God. So you mean to say slavery is against God when we're going to have slaves, but when they had slaves, it wasn't against God? Listen, man, don't listen to your pastor and don't listen to these devils, man, lying to us. Don't listen to these devils lying to us, man, making out that we have to die to go to heaven to get some joy and happiness. You mean to say everybody on the earth can be happy and live life and smell the flowers and smell the beautiful fresh air and lay down in the sunshine on a hammock on the beach somewhere? And in order for me to get all that, I have to die to go to heaven, man. I have to die to go to heaven to get all that. Meanwhile, they can get all that on the earth. That's right. Stop letting your pastor pull the wool over your eyes, man. We're going to have all that on the earth, man. We're going to have hammocks and we're going to be sitting on the hammock, man, in the sunshine. Sitting on the hammock in the sunshine, you're going to have sand between your toes, man. You're going to have the sand between your toes and you're going to know what it's like to live like a king. And you're going to experience all of that on the earth, man. You ain't got to die to experience that. You're going to experience all of that on the earth. With that brings us to the end of the class. Also, Officer Parash has got a lecture coming up, Crushing Islam, November 30th it was? November the 28th on a Saturday at the school. Is it 2 p.m.? Or was it? At 3 p.m. Everyone coming down to that lecture. It's going to be on a Saturday. Bring your notepad. He's going to crush Islam. He's going to crush all it. Listen, Muhammad's going to be turning in his grave thinking, how did a nigga find out all this information, man? That's what Muhammad's going to be saying. How did a nigga find out all this heavy information, man? He's going to crush Islam and everything. Also, Officer Karafi's got a lecture coming up. I've also got one coming up. Officer Magawar, Officer Shamgar got a lecture coming up also. And a brother said, is it going to be online? Yeah, that lecture is going to be online, man. We're going to be announcing that lecture every week. Check on the Facebook, the flyers on the Facebook. I also posted it on my page. That flyer, that lecture is going to be a heavy lecture, man. Everything you wanted to know about Islam and how it's tampered with it, you can tell them a bit about it if you want, whatever you want.
Yeah, basically, the lecture, we're going to get into, Muhammad and the facts, not what you've been taught in religion and the Quran about that. It is a tampered with book. Their famous statement is the Quran's never been changed. And in that lecture, I'm going to show you that it has been changed. Right. And they know it.
Right.
But the thing is, they don't want you to know it.
Right. And I've heard Officer Parash has been giving me a few of the details on some of the lecture, and he's got some heavy info. Listen, if you wanted to know if Islam is true or not, log into that lecture. I'm telling you, I've heard tons of info about it that I didn't even know. And listen, I've been writing them notes down, and any Muslim come up to me at camp or under slavery, listen, just with the little 2% of the information I've heard, a Muslim couldn't even stand against me, and I've only heard 2% of it. So log into the lecture. You don't want to miss it. November 28th, 3 p.m., 394 Lodge Road, B18, 5PW. Log into the lecture. Log in, man. Take notes. It's going to be a heavy lecture. I wish it was tomorrow, but unfortunately, I have to wait till November the 28th. Log into that lecture. It's going to be heavy. All the information that you ever needed on Islam, the Quran, not just the rhetorics you've been told that, the Quran's never been changed. He's got all the books that proves it's been changed, different versions, different historians. You know what? I'm giving them too much information. Let me just wrap up the class. Shalom. We're going to wrap up the class.
That was a powerful class to give Officer Dunbar Hand. We are the I.S.U.P.K. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Ruled for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves off the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from their head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means tenth in the Hebrew Ba'itra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department, priest fund, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocations.
December 20th, which is Hanukkah, which falls on a Friday. Everyone come on down to that. That's gonna be real heavy, man. I expect to see all the brothers come out, man. Like last time, we're gonna break bread and have a whale of a time, man. Come on down to that, man. Come on down to that, man. And also, a brother online said is there link for the lecture. The lecture is it's November the 28th, but it will be streamed on the I.S.U.P.K United Kingdom page. So this same YouTube page right now, the lectures, we're gonna stream it on this page on this YouTube channel. So it'll be on the YouTube channel, on the Facebook. So it's just gonna be on the same link. So we're gonna announce it every week. So close to the time, you're gonna remember it and whatnot. So we're gonna announce it every single week. Then after this lecture is done, we're gonna start to announce the next one. So we're just doing it one day at a time. Go ahead.
All Akim and Aqua, check the bulletin boards in the hallway and check all I.S.U.P.K social media. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, to start with all black boots, shirts, pants, headbands, and scarves. And with that, we're going to rise and face the east. And the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwafka, Taba'ah, Bartazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazah, Kawor, Hayah, Barshemayim, Nathunanawa, Nakam, Cow, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawafinawa, Wala'ah, Tabaya'ayanawa, Banasayawan, Abod, Howard Shiloh, Mayon, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahathapara, La'aywalamya, Amen.
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy
name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done. In earth,
as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not. Into temptation. But deliver us. From evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be.
And with that, we're going to give the teacher one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I'm Madim Shabbat. I'm Madim Barak. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Barak Athar.
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Barak Athar.
Yad Yom Nataf. Class dismissed.